A very good morning to everybody. Today we discuss about the topic conservation of environment. We are living in an environment, so we should protect our environment. So how we will protect our environment? There are different conservation methods of environment. So what are they? First one, concept of sustainability and sustainable development with the judicious use of land, water and forest resources, afforestation. Second one, control measures for various types of pollution, use of renewable and alternate sources of energy. Next, solid waste management, conservation of biodiversity, environmental laws, international agreements. All these are meant for conservation of environment. First, we discuss about the sustainability. So, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is maintaining a delicate balance between the human need to improve lifestyles and feelings of well-being on one hand and preserving natural resources and ecosystems on which we and future generations depend. So we must use our natural resources in proper way, in a sustainable way, so that our future generations will get all natural resources. If we over exploit these natural resources, future generations will suffer. So, sustainable livelihood is very, very important. The United Nations defines sustainable land management as the use of land resources, including soils, water, animals, and plants, for the production of goods to meet changing human needs while simultaneously ensuring long-term productive potential of these resources and the maintaining of the environmental functions. So, we are understanding the importance of environment here. So, we are getting all things from environment. Soils, so that we are getting good crops from soils. Water, we need water for drinking purpose, and so many uses are there for crops. Everything you need water, and animals, plants, all these are natural resources. So we must use them in proper way, in a sustainable way, so that future generations will get all natural resources. We have to build a sustainable world which should last forever. Some of the ways to sustain continuous use of resources are practices to utilize efficiently, so avoid wastage of water and avoid usage of plastics and other non-biodegradable materials, and to take care for the environment we live. It is important that we manage and use our resources carefully so as to preserve for the future generations. So we must avoid the usage of plastic. You know what are the problems by using this plastic. So you must ban the plastic because of plastic environment get polluted, and we must avoid wastage of water. Whatever water we want, we have to use. We should not waste water, because we should give good environment to our future generations. So that is the importance of sustainable livelihood, so that we will achieve this sustainable development by changing our lifestyles in proper way. Next thing, control measures for various types of pollution, use of renewable and alternate sources of energy. We know different types of air pollutions, so many types of pollutions: air pollution, soil pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. So all these pollutions must be controlled. So what are the control measures of air pollution? So because of air pollution, environment get spoiled. So how we can control? By taking some remedies, use of unleaded petrol. So because lead is a heavy metal, you must avoid this leaded petrol. Use of unleaded petrol, using fuels with low sulfur and ash content. So we must use fuels with low sulfur and ash content. We are seeing automobiles, vehicles, like anything, the fuels are because of these fuels we are getting many unwanted gases into the environment. This may lead acid rains, so many types of problems in environment. Next one, promotion of use of public transport. So here you can see in a bus how many members they travel, maybe up to 50 members. If these 50 members go in 50 cars, what happens? How much air pollution? So many gases are liberated into the environment: CO2, NO2, CO. All these are very harmful to environment. Industrial smokes. So we must control all these things. Industries must be very far to villages or cities, whatever maybe. Improve the engines of the automobiles. So good engines, eco-friendly vehicles. We may also use electric vehicles. Increase the use of renewable energy. So you can see solar plates in these pictures. Today everywhere solar energy is encouraged. You can see in traffic solar plates, even in our campus, college, educational institutions. Solar energy is very encourageable because no air pollution. Even from air, this energy is produced. So all these renewable energy sources must be encouraged to control the air pollution. So control measures of water pollution. Here we can see different types of water pollutions today. So what are the control measures of water pollution? Sewage treatment plants to treat the sewage pollutants, use of biofertilizers, oxidation ponds, cooling ponds to reduce thermal pollution, wastewater treatment plants, degradation of cyanides and heavy metals. So these are the different control measures. So we are seeing sewage pollutants. To control them, sewage treatment plants are very useful. So by treating them, we can use this treated water for agriculture purposes, and use of biofertilizers, oxidation ponds. So in oxidation ponds, because of growing some useful algae, they produce oxygen. So the ponds somewhat get purified. Cooling ponds to reduce thermal pollution. See what happens in industries. Very hot solutions they pour into ponds. What happens? The aquatic organisms die. So to avoid this, cooling ponds are very useful to reduce the thermal pollution. Wastewater treatment plants also useful. So degradation of cyanides and heavy metals. These heavy metals and cyanides are very hazardous to health. They must be degraded. So in this way, by following different control measures, we can reduce this water pollution. Control measures of soil pollution. Integrated treatment methods. There are different methods. Area treatment. See, if the soil is without vegetative cover, it gets polluted. So to treat this polluted soil, we can encourage vegetative cover there, because these plants are sand binders. They control they avoid the soil erosion. So this area treatment is very useful. Next one, drainage line treatment. You can see different drainage lines which lead to soil pollution. So they must be treated. So these are the different control measures of soil pollution. Noise pollution. So we can measure sound in decibels. Because of vehicles we are getting so much of noise pollutions. So ban on honking in certain areas, because in school zones or hospital zones they create a lot of disturbance. So they must be banned in those areas, because in hospitals there may be heart patients. They cannot tolerate that much of heavy sounds. Minimum use of loudspeakers and amplifiers, especially near silent zones. So all these are different control measures of noise pollution. Solid waste management. We are seeing here and there solid waste. What is solid waste? Solid waste is the unwanted or useless solid materials generated from combined residential, industrial and commercial activities in a given area. So solid waste come in different ways. So solid waste includes what? Food wastes, metals, plastics, rubber and broken materials. Everything. We use unnecessary things. So what are the control measures? So especially in urban areas, okay, control measures of urban and industrial waste. First of all, reduction in use of raw materials. We must reduce over utilization of these materials. Reuse of waste materials. See, poor people, they use small things repeatedly. Plastic things, whatever may be, they use repeatedly. So reuse of waste materials. Recycling of materials. So recycling of this plastic, whatever may be. So all these are different control measures of this waste. Waste segregation and disposal. How to dispose this waste? First one, sanitary landfill. So in sanitary landfill, deep in soil, it is digged deeply. So this unwanted waste is dumped into that. Okay. A caution must be taken to avoid the underground water pollution. Next one, composting. So vegetative waste or kitchen waste. So we can use this one for composting. So next one, incineration. Incineration is burning of waste at very high temperatures, 900 degrees centigrade, like that. So a caution must be taken here. Heavy metals, leads, like materials must not be there in that incineration process, because it will lead to heavy environmental pollution. So what are the hazardous materials? RA 16 and 69 is commonly known as the toxic substances, hazardous and nuclear wastes, Control Act of 1990. It is being implemented by DENR through Administrative Order number 29, series of 1992. The said DAO provides specific guidelines for the implementation of the Title II toxic chemical substances and the Title III hazardous and nuclear wastes. So we must be very careful about these materials. They are very hazardous to our health. Next, conservation of biodiversity. What is biodiversity? In nature, we can find a variety of life forms, that is biodiversity. We must conserve it. It's a part of conservation of environment. So how we conserve this biodiversity? In different ways. Mainly two ways: in situ conservation, ex situ conservation. What is in situ conservation? It is a method of conserving all the living species, especially the wild and endangered species, in their natural habitats and environment. So if we go some places, there is a lot of biodiversity. So what we do? Constructing a national park or biosphere reserve or wildlife sanctuary, so that the plants or animals can be conserved in their own natural habitats. So what are national parks? So these are large areas that protect not only wildlife but also with that environment. So these national parks are protected. Okay, so we can see many national parks all over India. So these national parks are protected by different acts. So you can see Kaziranga National Park, where you can see rhinoceros. So these are very important protected areas where flora and fauna are get protected. So these are different conservation methods. All over India you can find so many. There are 105 national parks all over India, and 18 biosphere reserves and 553 wildlife sanctuaries. What are wildlife sanctuaries? Here wildlife get protected. So these are also large areas where we can get many animals. They get protected in these areas. You can see Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, Parambikulam Wildlife Sanctuary. So all over India there are 553 wildlife sanctuaries. See, biosphere reserves. These are very large areas, 5,000 kilometers square areas. So in these areas, biosphere reserves, there are 18 biosphere reserves all over India. So Nanda Devi, one of important biosphere reserve. In biosphere reserve, there are three parts: core part at center, okay, mantle part, and transition zone. In core part, no one allowed. In mantle part, scientific research is allowed. In transition zone, the adjacent villages may go for some wood like that, firewood like that. There are some restrictions are there. So these are all conserved areas, very strictly protected by different laws, and these are all meant for in situ conservation. Means the flora or fauna conserved within their natural habitats. So another conservation method is ex situ conservation. In ex situ conservation, these organisms, living species are conserved in other than their natural habitats, maybe in artificial habitats like botanical gardens, zoo, DNA banks, gene banks, all these things. There are so many botanical gardens all over the world. Royal Botanical Garden is present at London. Botanical Survey of India, there is a botanical garden in Kolkata. So like that, there are so many botanical gardens all over world. So you can see here Lal Bagh Botanical Garden. Many plants are conserved there. In botanical gardens, special care is taken to protect endangered and endemic species also. So here zoological parks you can see. So many zoological parks are there. Indira Gandhi Zoological Park, Nehru Zoological Park. In zoological parks, animals are get protected. So outside their natural habitats, these are get protected. In DNA banks, gene banks, all these are different conservation methods for the plants or animals. So here some laws are required, like Environmental Protection Act 1986. The act came into force on November 19, 1986, the birth anniversary of our last Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, who was a pioneer of environmental protection issues in our country. The Environment Act has also made provision for environmental audit as a mean of checking whether or not a company is complying with environmental laws and regulations. Thus, ample provisions have been made in our country through law for improving the quality of our environment. So, everyone must follow this Environmental Protection Act, because if we don't follow the act, see so many industries, so a lot of industrial wastes are coming from them. So they must follow this act to avoid environmental pollution. So like that Water Act, so many acts came. See here, Forest Conservation Act in 1980. So no forest land or any part thereof should be used for non-forest purposes. So no state government is empowered to issue orders allotting forest land for other purposes by way of lease or otherwise without prior approval of the central government. So we must not spoil the forest environment by over exploitation. So acquaint yourself with the laws, detailed rules and orders issued by the government. So create awareness about the existence and value of national parks and sanctuaries. So we have discussed about these national parks, sanctuaries, how important they are there. So you must protect them. You must not we must not allow unnecessary practices like hunting or poaching. To avoid all these things, this act came. Do not litter in your forest area. So we must not litter in forest areas. So they must be protected. We can practice greenery. We can encourage afforestation even in educational institutions. Plantation programs are encouraging. So to protection of this forest very important for our good environment. So all these are different conservation methods. So see here some international agreements also. Montreal Agreement, Kyoto Protocols. Montreal Protocol is came to avoid ozone depletion. So chlorofluorocarbons are coming from different gases are coming from this refrigerator factories like that, ACs, fridges. From all these factories, different gases are coming, which are very harmful to ozone layer. So ozone layer is a protecting layer around the earth. If there is a hole in ozone, what happens? Through this hole, UV rays get entered into the environment. Many people, millions of people are suffering from skin cancers because of this ozone depletion. To avoid this Montreal Protocol came, like that Kyoto Protocol. This is also to control the greenhouse gases. CO2, over CO2. See what happened? Greenhouse gases. Because of greenhouse gases, we are getting greenhouse effect. Temperatures are increasing, ice caps are melting, and the sea levels are also increasing. The coastal areas are submerged because of this greenhouse effect. So Kyoto Protocol came to control this greenhouse gases. So next one, different environment movements are there, like Bishnois of Rajasthan. So this is a sect. They are very dedicated to protect forest areas, animals. Even they sacrifice their lives to protect these forest areas. So they won't allow, they ban hunting, they ban felling of trees. Even they sacrifice their life. So like that, there are so many environmental movements like Chipko movement. Sundarlal Bahmuna started this Chipko movement in Uttarakhand. Later on, it was spread through Himalayan region overall. So in Chipko movement, what is Chipko movement? Hug the tree, protect the tree, because the trees are necessary for their local people. To get a sustainable livelihood, we must be live with these trees. So we must not fell the trees. So we have to protect trees. So they form a chain, they protect these trees. This Chipko movement is very famous. Next one, Silent Valley movement. Silent Valley is present in Kerala state. One project came to construct electricity project, the hydroelectricity project. But because of that, this Silent Valley may lose a lot of forest area. So many NGOs struggled to stop this project. So later on, it was called off, and there came a national park in Silent Valley. So like that, different movements came to protect the environment. So this is about the conservation of environment. So I think you understood well. So thank you for listening.